Okay, so I'm gonna call the meeting to order. It's 6:00.
Doug is coming in.
Someone's coming in?
Doug.
Okay. There's two, and Ally, okay. Good, we have quorum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where is he? Oh, Ian's 5. Okay, excellent. Okay, ready? Call the meeting to order? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hi, Ally.
Hi.
How are you? Hello, Counselor Butler, Mr. Mayo. We have a number of amazing folks on Zoom and only one in the room here. No, two. One room here. I've had a long day. Had a long day. So I just want to take a moment. We have a change in Counselor, Mr. Mayo, would you like to wait a moment, or would you like to go first? It's up to you.
Oh, I thought I would come on your second item on public participation. I have to get used to that. So this was.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to introduce our new town council liaisons. Before I do that, I do want to thank Counselor Butt and Counselor Dombrowski for all that they did for the council. They were amazing, very helpful. And we're very excited to have both Counselor Constance and Counselor Butler join us as the new town councilor liaisons. If either of you would like to make some comments, or you want to start with you, Counselor Butler?
Sure. I'm excited to be here. The way I've been coughing all day, the rest of you are glad that I'm not in the conference room. So, no, I think we're both Counselor Constance and myself are very much looking forward to working with this group and organization to sort of think about the different ways we can bring development to Wakefield.
Right.
Yep, I agree with that. Thank you for welcoming me, Julianne. It's
Yeah.
great to be here. I'm really excited. This group was the liaison that I wanted because I think it's just so critical to our town's future. And this is a fantastic group of people, and I'm super excited to get going.
Great, thank you. Yeah, excellent. Well, welcome you both.
Conference room 1, by the way.
I'm sorry?
Conference room 1 looks like it has like 2 empty chairs.
Oh, right. Mr. Mayo, do you want to speak now? Or do you seriously want to wait till public comment?
No, I can speak now. First of all, I wanted to thank you for letting me speak this evening. I want to thank the committee for all the hard work they've done over the years. And you can really see some of the difference occurring downtown right now. A lot of work is being done in the facade program. And I want to commend Erin for being very smart and using the state money first on the facade program, because the state money technically needs to be spent by June 30th, 2025, or we can potentially lose that grant. So I think we're on a real good shape there. That's already been approved and allocated. But I do want to speak about the rest of the ARPA money, which is the federal amount. As the group knows, $1 million was put in the hands of the EDC by the town council, and I think very wisely to help use to, the economic development of our town. Each quarter, you people are all very gracious in doing these reports, and I don't want the reports done just to make work for people, but I think it's important for the council and for us to know where we are as we get closer to the date of spending, of making sure we spend that money, because there is always some, some chatter out of Washington, D.C. that there could be a clawback. Certainly, it's easier to claw back money that hasn't been spent. So as of now, this august group here has a little over $968,000 to use and spend down by December 31st, 2026. So you have 18 months. And like I said, I think facade program is great. I do think that definitely the decision belongs to this group on what they want to do with the money. But I do want to impress upon you that time is, not critical, but it's getting closer. And I'm the kind of guy who always shows up 10 minutes early for meetings, so timelines kind of bug me. That's just the way I'm wired. But I want to thank you guys. I'm sure that you'll use the money wisely, and I'm excited to hear about some of the project. More excited to see the work that's being done downtown. And I will tell you, a lot of the business owners have stopped me, and you can see it happening. You can see how excited they are to maintain and be part of Wakefield. So that's all I had to say. Just want to thank you all and thank you for the hard work.
Thank
you.
Ismail.
Please, it's Steve.
Great. So, and no public, so we'll move on to item number 3. Is there any public? waiting
And
for
I need
public
to
comment?
jump off because I have a family fun thing to do. So it's
Okay,
not that
great.
this isn't fun. So I'll see you
All right.
later. Bye.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
again.
you for
See
joining
Bye.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the night.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Item number 3 is public comment. We're not seeing anybody from the public?
No.
No, okay. So we'll move on to item number 4, meeting minutes approval. Did everyone get a chance to review those?
Yes.
Yes? And Ally, yes? Okay. Does
Yes.
someone want to? Great.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Can you just say that?
The date is April 23rd.
April 23rd meeting.
Anyone a second?
Seconded.
I a second. Anne,
Aye.
Ally,
Aye.
this is I.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain because I wasn't here. Tanya,
Aye.
Lee,
I can abstain because I wasn't here on the last meeting too, I guess.
we have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna rescind my, because I did read them. Yeah, so
We had a comment
Yeah.
from town council saying you can't vote on minutes.
Yeah.
Meeting you were here.
I wasn't, so I reviewed them, the video. I did have a question around the 20,000 vote, so that's why I was gonna abstain and then talk about it later. You wanna abstain, Ali, still, or
I mean, I went through it and I was,
you felt
fine.
comfortable with them?
yeah, but,
You can still vote on it if you read.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. Very good. So we are very lucky tonight to have with us, Ms. Whalen, who is, I'm not your official title, but is an amazing art teacher at the Galvin Middle School. Has done some incredible projects, and is kind enough to come and talk to us about a potential, new project that she's hoping to kick off maybe with our help. That would, I'll let you talk more about the project. And the thought is that we could engage the community and the business downtown. So have this mosaic project maybe be out in the downtown area. Get folks excited about going downtown and seeing it. And that way it sort of falls within the whole notion of the EDC and driving folks downtown, businesses, getting businesses a little more engaged. But I'd like, Ms. Whalen, if you would like to talk about the project and the.
Sure. So some of you have the hard copy here. I'm Ann Whalen and I've been at the Galvin for 10 years and community projects have kind of been a thing of mine at the school I was with prior to. And this is something that I've been really interested in just eyeing for a while. This is a community mosaic piece with beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff is out of Somerville, Massachusetts. They push into different schools and other situations to do mosaics. And so for the community mosaic project, I just put a couple little pieces here. So you'll see a fish and you'll see an octopus. And the mosaic piece itself will be made out of individual ones. So it would be different pieces that would come together in a whole. And the exciting part would be that the Galvin students would work with the Beautiful Stuff team this spring to design, to talk about what the design is, the inspiration from the area. And that would be in June of 2025. And then next year, in both semester 1 and semester 2, Beautiful Stuff would come into the building and work with the students. And what we would like to do is we would like to push these pieces out into the businesses and to really tap into all the families that we have at the Galvin. So at the Galvin is 1,000 students. And this would be an upper house project. Yeah, Emily 70 and myself, we capture half of the school each year. So there's 2 art teachers at the Galvin. So we have 500 students that will come through our doors each year and collectively. So we, for the upper house alone. And so we kind of want to capture them and that family and take these pieces that are created and then put them into the stores along Main Street. And so we're envisioning them going into different storefronts in Main Street. I listed a few of them and put some pictures of just like places that the kids and family members would love to go. So Inspire Cafe, Cravings, Boba Tea, and I know you know even more than that, the library, the BB Library. And so they would be in the buildings, in the businesses for a period of time, which we would all kind of talk about and make decisions around that. And then kind of push the communication out into the community as to what's happening. And so different ways for the families, the community members to know, because it's not just, I mean, because I know that people within the community get excited about art that's happening, even if they don't have their students at the Galvin, just knowing that there's something creative happening in the community. So pass for families and community members to know about the community mosaics. Mosaics would be Galvin administration. We have a weekly family communication, the Galvin PTO, the Chamber of Commerce, and then the communications director, Jen McDonald, who I don't know. I've just been told about Jen. So those would be different paths that could push out on what's happening downtown. And then to stir up some excitement for families to go visit. So if you think about it, if your student was in one of our classes and they created one of the mosaic pieces, well, then they're going to go visit Boba and they're going to want to see it. And so just to stir up some business for the local businesses. And then after a set period of time, they could either, so if we're doing birds, they could fly back home to the Galvin to where there's a permanent installation there. So it just really does a good job. I think this will do a really nice job of taking the largest school in Wakefield and the families that are there in the community and just spreading all of that, that excitement around the art of the Galvin and sharing that with the community and into businesses. And I think it would be beautiful. So that is the basic proposition. And the examples, these are 2 examples that were just done at the schools, and how they did the pieces. They have a large wave that kind of goes down the hallway, and then they have all these individual pieces. So we would do something that was inspired by that, so we could have all of these individual pieces that could kind of go about. And I just think that it's an opportunity. So I feel like I'm saying this, and some of you might be thinking like, oh, could we have a scavenger hunt, or oh, could we have? I just feel like there's an opportunity to do more with it. And I want to present the idea where it's at right now. And then as far as they sent a budget over and it broke it down a little bit. And so a recent budget they did was for $5,424. So it would really this include installation fees. So there's some other fees that we haven't gone down the path for what it would look like for our community. And I think our time commitment will be a little bit longer than this. So it might be a little bit north of 5,000 of the price that you're seeing here.
How big is each piece?
The pieces, I think there can be a whole variety of them. So I know the dolphin was probably the scale was about this big. Then there's a crab. And then there was the octopus is probably this big. So I envision people could put them onto just small easels sometimes, Or we could just put some sort of wiring on the back and they could hang them on a wall. So we could we would have to look, I think, individually, business by business, what would work. And maybe I think a variety of sizes would be good. So that whatever works for the business, they could have a few things to choose from.
That was my question. Can you hang it on the wall? Because I'm envisioning, if you go down to boba tea, you could just have this lovely thing on the wall. And I was going where you were, like scavenger hunts or bingo card or find all the sharks in town or what have you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it could be really exciting.
Any opportunity to do some of this outside and have pieces that are a larger scale when you're at some of the businesses? And how do you look at the scope of the size of the pieces? And can we give you some direction? And say, geez, we'd like some really large pieces as part of the project or some direction that way to let you guys create.
So I think, so you're asking, can the businesses give some feedback? Is that what is that?
No,
what
I
you're
mean,
saying?
can we give some input as to what kind of pieces or a scale or a theme or
Oh,
something
okay.
for the community to give you some direction as to what we think would be a better draw? I mean,
Okay,
so sometimes we look at Wakefield, there's a really patriotic element and theme to it. So maybe there's something you can tie into the, rededication or some of the community events. Maybe there's a patriotic theme, and maybe there's some direction toward the pieces that are community oriented.
yeah, so one of the things, just to give you a background, one of the things we were talking about would be maybe more of like birds and animals of the region, just so like that community, things that are just around us in the world, in the environment.
Wakefield's also got a really nice wildlife element.
That's what we're thinking
Yeah,
about, is to
the-
tap
the-
into
The
what's
eagle
happening.
stuff and a lot of the, bird wildlife
That's
is
what,
an element in town too.
that's where we're looking at tapping into. And I took a picture of this as an example, because it's something that just happened. And then Emily 70 was saying that there's somebody in town that takes pictures of birds and posts it a lot. And she
There's-
said if we
yeah.
could tie that individual in, maybe they could come in with their photographs.
There's a number of wildlife photographers.
Are there a number?
It's in
They're quite
spot.
good. Yeah, they're quite good.
So I don't know about the story about the eagle. So these anecdotal pieces would be really important, I think. So you said that there's something happening with an eagle. So that would be something really interesting to hear about. Even like, is there a certain perch that they have? Or so just kind of talking about are there ways that we can bring all of these different elements together with the wildlife?
Can I pause you for a moment? Just for us all to think about, we certainly want to make sure it fits in within our framework without us being sort of the drivers. Like if we think, that, Ms. Whalen and the 70, we felt comfortable with them sort of setting the vision and maybe coming back and saying, hey, this is what we're thinking. And then we are like, yes, that fits within our framework. Cause otherwise then we become the
Working on the project.
mosaic police. I think
Yeah.
we want to make sure. But I like that
Well,
you're such a great
just some
thinker.
suggestions
Yes, yeah.
for what ties into the community and draws people. I mean, obviously the baseline is to create something that draws bodies into the downtown and in and around the shops in Wakefield.
Yes.
Can I
It's
ask,
true.
to jump onto this point, Erin, can you pull up the, those other, do you have the images of the, what else is that? It's not a
The
triptych.
mosaics.
No, not a triptych, it's the other thing,
Oh gosh, it's so funny. The four.
the four. So these four, panels, currently exist within Galvin. And I was in there, with the principal. I was in trouble, so no, I'm kidding. And she showed these to me and I was like, first off, shocked by how creative they are and how amazing they are.
That's visiting artist Giles LaRoche.
Yeah.
And this is a piece that happened
It's
last
downtown
year.
Wakefield.
Yeah, that's all downtown
It's
Wakefield.
downtown Wakefield.
And so everything was around Wakefield. We did schools, buildings, everything was around Wakefield. Giles and I worked together back in my previous school system. And I brought him over. He's a wonderful artist. he brought his original artworks and had them in the hallways, in the display case. So the kids were working around this artist that was so inspiring. And those pieces are, if you walk into the main community entrance, they're just right outside the Learning Commons. There's 4 large pieces that Mr. Whalen, Ed Whalen hung on the wall. And it has the lake too. It has like a biker going around the lake, and
What's the scale of that?
they're about this large right here, each of them. So it runs across the wall.
And we can't take them off, right?
I don't think so. He really worked.
You take these off?
I had free installation for that, and that was a big project.
So this one is, so this.
That's because,
But Kit Kat, they did, this is all, I like saw these, it was like, these kids are basically marketing downtown Wakefield,
mhm.
right? Which that kind of got me thinking and got to have a conversation with Miss Whalen, Miss 70. The one thing we were talking about, maybe a larger scale is to me is really interesting, but I wonder if there's an opportunity, if the smaller scale works, to then fund a separate project where you have the artists from Wakefield, like, because these are kids who are gonna be working on this. Maybe we could leverage some of the artists within Wakefield to do a larger scale project based on what the kids do.
There's some wonderful muralists in the area.
When Chris asked that question, the image that I had in my head was the bull and the bear from Wall Street, and like our version of that, you know, a giant bald eagle on the corner outside the school or something.
So tell me about the bald eagle. Where do you see the bald eagle?
On our lakes.
It's all on the
Seasonal,
lake.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're hunting fish and snacks.
They're amazing.
So can't you see something in its talons?
Yeah. I'm sure there's many pictures, should you be inclined to go look
Excellent. Excellent.
of eagles with lunch or dinner.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's herons too.
Yeah.
It's blue herons, yep.
Yeah, I see them flying over 128 all the time. They're long legs. There's so much interesting wildlife in the area. Yeah, oh my gosh, I was taking a left off of Spring Street and I looked up and there's a big turkey just crossing the road. Turkeys are everywhere. They're so fun.
I'm just gonna check on the Zoom. Ann, do you have any questions, comments?
Nope, nothing right now.
Okay, Ally?
Nope, I'm all set.
Okay. Counselor Butler?
Just a quick question. I think you said it was probably going to be a little more than $5,000. So I think the grants, at least as I read them, were sort of capped out at 5,000 for each specific creative grant. So what other funding sources are you thinking about to make this happen?
So 5,000 is the number then.
So I think we need to, so we need to have a discussion on that aspect. We actually have on here discussing the granting process, and that in my mind is a discussion point about do we cap it? Do we not cap it? Events, to me, events are different than art projects, which could be bigger, they're bigger scale, they're maybe cost more. So I think it's a discussion point.
I do see this differently than something for the committee with an event downtown.
Agreed.
It's a different animal, for lack of a better word, since we're on wildlife.
You could, question two, to do it in 2 phases. If 5 is the number, I mean, I like the cart and the horse, because you haven't made decisions about, what the grant is gonna look like, but you could do like the creative, creative side and installation side, because I'm sure installation is gonna be, not nothing, not by a long shot.
What's the cycle for the budget? Is it January to January? Okay.
We don't have one, right?
I think it's per project, or at least the way, I don't know if that was adopted yet or not. So sorry that this is my first meeting, but it looked like it was per project.
Yeah.
So
That's a good way to word it, per project. Okay.
And yeah, this seems like a nice enough idea and like a way to draw people in. I think the other thing is if you're thinking about doing it to June 2026, that is like, America turns 250. So there's probably a lot of tie-in there that one could do with the 250th birthday. I know you're looking to do it animals to like keep it out of, potentially raising red flags and whatnot, but there might be something there, especially with the notion of the bald eagle and Wakefield and all that. Like, yeah, there's lots of, you know, interesting symbolism one could do. But yeah, I also don't think, if it came in at 7, I don't think you'd have any trouble. You could probably find additional funding of $2,000, especially with 500 kids doing it at the school. I know, however, often we get raked over the coals for something for like, some sport or whatever. So,
I do see this as different than someone bringing an event to us.
Yeah.
I think the funding can be a little different for this.
So what, do you have any questions, comments?
No.
Good. You love it? Okay. Ollie?
No, just a comment. I like it. I like that.
Okay, great. So for me, the goal was to, because we had chatted and I think this is amazing. I think this fits right in what we're trying to do here and really kind of brings something into Wakefield that can get people excited. And I think the goal for tonight was, thank you very much for coming,
Oh, you're welcome.
and presenting and just putting the idea in front of folks. And then, I don't know, if you have that voting, did I put voting? I just put discussion. Just really having a discussion around this and then finalizing our process, because we still have to finalize, which hopefully we get through tonight. And then get back to you quickly
Okay,
and see if we can just move things forward.
all right, excellent. Well, thank you for really great listening to.
I'm sorry, Erin, did you have any? My apologies. Do you have any?
No, my question is about the funding.
Okay.
But it's really great. Oh. How many businesses were you thinking?
So I think I'm looking to you for that part. So,
Because that would also, that impact
I can tell,
funding too. Yeah.
yeah, so I can tell you that we have many.
Mhm.
So, each semester, each of us has 10 classes and half of those are gonna be upper house. So between the two of us, we have 10 classes of upper house per semester. So that's 20 classes.
Okay.
So I would say, I think you'd safely say like, that number 20 would be a number.
What is upper house?
What's that?
What is upper house?
7th and 8th.
My kids still know.
So they did such a great job that evolved while I was there. And so you have one assistant principal that's with the upper house and one assistant principal. If they really work a lot with the teams that they have and it creates some nice consistency.
This would be like an upper house
This
project.
would be an upper house project. So this will be 7th, this year's 6th grade and 7th grade. They'll be rising into 7th and 8th grade.
So it'd be like 2026.
2025, 2026 year.
Right.
So yes.
Fall
right,
grade.
project
Right.
starts
School
in
years
fall.
work differently than.
I know. I could live in that.
Okay, cool.
Does beautiful things,
Beautiful stuff.
beautiful stuff, do they have a deadline of when they need to know, they need to hear from you?
So, I mean, I didn't ask them for a deadline. They have one. So one thing that always happens is that spaces get filled. So you start losing like the nice spaces. So the nice timelines is what happened. So like when I contacted her, I don't know, like in February or something. We were just kind of chatting. And then at the end, she's like, said, what timeline do you have for this? And I said, well, it won't be until next year. She said, thank goodness, because we are full. So they do book up. They tend to book up. So sooner than later is better as far as booking. To have more of the selection for the time when you want to have them.
And you're targeting September, October.
Well, with Giles, what we did was Giles came at the end of the first semester for our first group and at the beginning of the second semester for the second group.
So December, January?
Yeah. Yeah, so the semesters tend to end at January 25th, 24th. When the
And does Beautiful Stuff, do you know, do they need like a 3 month, so you're saying that they book up, but do they
They book
need,
up, yeah.
but do they need like, okay, even without booking up, we need 6 weeks before we can come and do X, like, can they come in and do they come in and do a presentation to you? Do you throw the idea out there to them?
So we booked that.
Okay.
So that, we booked a meeting with them and they know that I'm meeting with you this evening. But she said, we really need to get on the books. I said, well, let's get something on the books. So that's June coming up this month, June 2025. We have a meeting scheduled with them, a design meeting, and we're gonna pull in students from the upper house. You wouldn't believe the artists that are at the Galvin. It's the artwork is just amazing. And that's the other thing I could do with you. I could share maybe it's like a link to Art Sony or something, and people could look through and see some of the artwork that the kids are doing. It will blow your mind what the artwork that the students are doing. So they're wonderful. And we have another event just to promote the art department. So Wakefield Public School, Visual Arts. We have our VPAD and it's right at the Civic Center. And so we had it very recently. And that's something that was, since COVID, we brought it back to the Galvin just to keep it going. We lost the Civic Center and we have the Civic Center back. So we have currently a K-8 visual show. It was such a wonderful hit. Mr. Banker got 4 musicians to come and they played jazz music. We had food and just waters and art everywhere. So those are some things that I could share with you, with some images from that. You can just kind of see the art program a little bit and what we're doing at the Galvin. There's just a lot of great things happening there.
I'm gonna go back to detail. So your meeting in June is when?
Yeah. I'd have to look it up.
End, middle?
I'd have to look it up.
Okay, is there a dollar amount associated with that meeting?
I think we were gonna talk about the overall dollar amount of that meeting, but no, we don't have one associated with that meeting.
Okay, great, okay.
And when you said you would look to us for help with identifying the businesses, that was one of my questions too. You're gonna have 500 pieces of beautiful art.
No, it'll be one per classroom. So I would say 20 is the number
Oh.
that we can work with.
I was thinking more like the tiles and the, down at the library.
Oh, yeah, no, so I would think of it as
Oh.
imagine this piece being like this
Oh,
big.
Okay.
So you have so this is an octopus, but it might be an eagle or a heron or a turkey. Really excited about the turkey right now. But you would have this piece on display in your business. So everybody would have a piece from the collective mosaic in their business, and then they would fly back.
So it's only 20-ish businesses then, it's not
Correct.
or,
Yeah,
Okay.
or the library or
Right.
town hall or
Right.
any places I think that you'd want to pull people into.
Yep.
Yeah. Dance studios.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The time comes we went together.
Perfect.
Fun business.
Thank you. You're welcome to stay, you're welcome to go. Okay, yeah. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Please. So item number 6. This is actually talking about the fund granting process. Just to jump right into what Counselor Butler brought up, because I was looking at the 5,000. I thought we had the 5,000 allocated for events, and then thinking about sort of creative arts would be maybe, because a creative art project tends to be a bit more than $5,000. But just wanted to have a conversation around that. And then Erin, you had updated the app?
Sorry, I need to step up.
Unless- I have to unmute people. We gotta unmute people. No, they're on they muted, okay. So Erin had updated the app and I think had sent to everybody. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Did folks get a chance to look at the updated? And you get a chance to look at the updated?
I
Yes?
did, yes.
Ally, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm so sorry. I need to go. I have a very urgent personal thing. Let me give this to you.
I'll come over.
Anything we can help you with?
Oh, no. Child need to go. It's okay. Boys, right? If you're okay. Yeah, no. Copies of this. I apologize. Don't see. Dividing comfort, right? Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, do you know how to do this? No. All right, gang. Not the one you want to be. I guess it's fine. So Aaron actually made hard copies. Does anyone want a hard copy?
I have them.
You have one?
You want-
You good? You're good?
Oh, one short.
Hopefully I'll have to just shut this down. So when I looked at this, I thought it looked pretty good. The dollar amount, and I believe that's a little bit of what Mr. Mayo is referring to, is that maybe we don't want to prevent ourselves from, we don't want to, I don't want to speak for him. We don't want to potentially lose an opportunity because we've capped by a dollar amount, where maybe there's an opportunity for something great for Wakefield, but because we've put in a capped amount, we don't have that opportunity. So I think that's maybe what he saw, maybe what he's thinking. He would want to come in very politely, tell us to spend the money.
Well, I think if the right project shows up, then we should seriously look at it and think about funding it.
Right. Do we think this, because I didn't, do we think this is a good project?
I like that a lot.
I liked it too.
Yes,
But
love it.
But when I was looking at her draft budget, it looked really small to me, like art supplies. You know, if you're gonna make 500 or give 500 kids the opportunity to make a mosaic, that looked like not very much money to me.
I love that.
I think so, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Go.
And I know this is just a draft, you know, but
So I think that was from the Lynn.
from a different one, yeah, but like supplies, $820.
So,
I think it's only 220. It's only the classrooms for, what is it, for 7th and 8th grade, right?
Yeah, it's not 500 students.
Didn't she say there's 1,000
It's-
kids in the building and she has half of them?
I think
Right,
it was
but she
500.
said 7th and 8th grade, but it's
Yeah,
each room is doing a mosaic, not each kid.
Okay.
Right, so she was talking about 20
Most
pieces of art.
right.
and I think it is potentially 500 kids. They have 500 kids in their class. because they
Right,
have
but every kid doesn't get to do a mosaic. Like they're doing it as a class, I thought. That's
They're
what
not
she
doing
said.
individual, correct, they're not doing individual.
No, every kid doesn't
Same
get their
number,
own
yeah.
mosaic. It's not,
Right. And schools are not used to having money, so they very much, right? So to your point, I think, the next steps for her will be to meet with Beautiful Stuff
Mhm.
and say, give me a real
A-
projection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if she's gonna come back and say, here's the budget, I need approval, it has to be.
Yes, and I think, she'll fill out the process, the application, and say, she'd give us the projection, the proposal, and say, whatever it is, 10 grand. And then we can look at that and say, yeah, we still think this is a good project.
I think it's fun. Like anytime you're getting people to walk around and look at their kids stuff around town.
Yep.
Lot of foot traffic.
Because like, you get potentially 500 kids putting their hands on something, so there's potentially 2 caretakers, potentially grandparents, potentially, right? Who we can all,
Want to see?
we like fly downtown, right? All sorts of opportunity. So the only change I wanted to talk about, or the piece I want to talk about, was that 5,000 number. But otherwise, I think it was really great.
I had a few questions.
Maybe.
So we talked about getting letters of support from different businesses. So it says 3 letters of support, but then if it's in a butter, 3 letters of support from butters. Can those be the same? Are we talking about 6 letters now of support? Or are we talking
if you're shutting streets down.
We're talking 6 letters now. Okay. And then my other question was, so it's a reimbursable.
I'm sorry. Is that what you understood?
No, yeah, if you're gonna shut down a corner or a street, then I think you need half a dozen.
Okay, yeah, seems fair. I was just clarifying.
Yeah.
And then it's reimbursable and they have to pull all the applications or not applications, like licenses and
Mhm.
stuff first. Are they like, do they know that they're gonna get reimbursed like for the full amount that
certainly.
they're applying for? Or is it like, there's not like a chance where they do the event and it's like, oh, we didn't really qualify for this or whatever?
I think,
It'd be dry.
I think,
You know what I mean?
I think someone comes to us with an idea.
Never mind.
I mean, I think someone comes to us with,
Yeah.
with an idea
Okay,
and, trying not to be Boston idea. But they present us a project and then go through the process. I mean, when they bring us something, we approve it subject to you fulfilling the obligations tied into it.
So if they fill out to Tom's point, they get all the permits, town's good with it, they fill out the application. Are we reviewing every application? Is that what we're doing?
I think you have. Right, who else would do it?
Erin,
All right.
especially since she's not here.
Erin, because you're not.
Oh, okay, okay.
I was just thinking, point of clarity.
Erin first.
Yes.
Good, great.
Well, we could have that Erin has gone through it and said.
And then if she's got a concern, yeah.
She
got
got
a
concerned.
concern.
She's gonna-
She feels like it doesn't have the criteria, she could.
Well, they haven't really pulled this permit. They're saying they did, but they didn't really, right? Like, I think if she signs off first, and then she wants to come present, like, we got this one, da, da, da. Cause the one thing for you folks, the one thing we have been very careful of is not micromanaging Erin. Like, if she thinks it's a good project, it's a good event, they've hit all the buttons. But I don't think that's how this reads, right?
yeah, well, my other question was like, okay, so they pull the permit and then we're like, oh, you know what, this doesn't really fit our criteria. Can they go back to the town and be like, I don't need this permit, I'm not gonna get any funding for this event or backing from?
I think someone brings us an idea and then has to, before they get funded, here's your application. Part of the application is you need to do this, this, and this, not necessarily before you apply, but
Okay,
before you get funded.
okay, that wasn't clear to me.
I
Okay,
filled out an application, I want to do this. Geez, we think that's great.
go pull a permit.
However,
Okay,
you know, you need to satisfy the obligations in the application
got it,
before you get funded.
got it.
So
I
I feel differently.
I do. I think it's the other way. I think they have to go through and get the town. Cause that's why I think where Erin comes in. So they have to go. Cause if we think it's a great idea and they go and try to pull a permit to shut a street down, then it's like, no way. We've now given the okay, and we've now said, yeah, we'll give you $5,000. Versus if they've gone and
But the-
it's okay.
Money's contingent upon approvals.
Right. That makes more sense to me, because if you go and pull the permit and then we're like, oh no, can that person then go back to the town and be like, never mind, I'm not gonna get
I have my-
funding for this, and I have my permit money back. And then the town's like, no, consider that a donation to Wakefield.
I think it's transactional, kinda.
But then we're not spending. But then we're back into we're not spending. So if that happens, then we're not, oh, someone had a great idea. We said, yep, go ahead. We're starting to tick off the money off the opera funds. And then they come back 3 months later and said, I couldn't make this work. So then we have an additional $5,000 that we didn't allocate.
Well, I think there's parts of the application.
Does it cost? I'm sorry. Do we know how much it costs to do it? Or maybe it's. Do you know how much it cost? Do you know how much it costs to book permits?
No, I know I've only done block party and it's zero.
It's zero.
And it's all online. And so like you need the fire chief and the police chief, but it's just an electronic tick box and then you get notified. Yep, they said fine. So it's not heavy lifting, but that's for a block party. I don't know. We did shut a street down, but
Was it like a main street with businesses on it?
no. No.
Yeah, it's like a
No, it's
residential.
a residential street.
Yeah, I feel like that's a
Yeah.
different.
But the DPW has to come out and put the cones up, you know, there's definitely town involvement.
Yeah.
I think the DPW is one of the other checkbox, so I don't know. I think to rent the Heritage Room is like $40, right? I'm pretty sure. I'm not, I
Didn't town council have a fee on the lake?
don't know.
I think they did.
So what my concern is that if we do it the other way, we're allocating funds that if something falls through, we haven't really allocated those funds. So that's my concern, because that's,
Well, how long would it take to pull a permit? Like, can we say you have like 2 weeks to pull this permit and then we move on if you can't do it?
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Put a time frame around it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a meeting cycle.
People will be like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing, and then you never see them, right?
Well, how far in advance do you think somebody would book an event ahead of the event? You know, like, is it a,
Well, I think if you come to a meeting in May and say, I've got a wonderful idea, I want to do this, this, and this, here's my application. You need to come back in June with, I hit all my check boxes, and then you get funded.
so it's only a month that we're sort of like promising?
Yeah, so it's like a pre-approval. You check all your boxes, you come back and we're like, great job.
Folks on Zoom, and
I just had a question. So, they would come to us with the idea. And then we would say, that looks great. Go off and get your permits and do what you have to do and then come back to us and we would give them the money? Or is it the other way around?
Well, that's the conversation.
Right.
can we take an event that happens, can we just take the 4th of July, not that we're saying, but just as an example, right? So 4th of July, so they're fundraising, they're getting their volunteers together, they're doing all that stuff, right? There's a lot that goes into putting together an event, right? We're not we're like a speed bump, we're not a roadblock. But I would think that getting all of that stuff in place and then saying, hey, I can apply for an additional $5,000 from the EDC for promoting, for whatever. Where to me, it would be at the end, because then we're just a funder. I think we talked about, we didn't want to be,
We don't want to be the project manager.
we don't.
Right, but
So you're talking about different scales. So your scale is, here's $5,000 to market your huge event. Your scale is, you know, in the backyard, putting together an event, and I need the money to do this.
correct.
So
Maybe not backyard, but it's like, this is the
two
money that
so
is
two
going
different
to-
scales where the money is
Yeah.
different.
I don't have an independent force or like a sponsor, right? Let's say I don't have a sponsorship. I don't have a budget to put towards it. I'm coming to the town to say, hey, I want to do this. And this is all of the money I plan on having. So it's like, if I did all the things and then we said no,
Yeah.
it would be like, well, this event is now no longer happening.
And you said Aaron's gonna pre-screen anyway, so how likely is it that somebody's gonna be sitting in front of this body and you're gonna say no? Because Aaron would have already said, gee, I think this is a pretty good idea. Like if it's a total non-starter for Aaron, it probably would never come here.
Mhm.
So let's just imagine 4th of July, forget the whole event, but what if I, citizen, want to run some terrific little cultural event on the corner while all the other stuff is going on that day? I don't know, post parade cleanup, something, who knows? So we come here, say, this is what I want. I need a budget for this, and this. And then you'd say, sounds good, go do your work. Get your permits, fill out your paperwork, fill out the application, get your supportive letters. Okay, go away and do that. Okay, now I'm back at the next cycle of meeting. I did everything. And that's when you get the check mark. Is that what makes sense to you guys? And then you don't get the funding until after the whole event. So this is all reimbursement? Okay. What if you don't have any money to front?
I know.
You know,
I know.
$5,000 is a lot of money.
I don't know.
Yeah,
More.
yeah.
Mhm.
might be a roadblock.
Well, and this is a very involved application. I mean, I feel like the person applying for this knows what they're doing.
I-
Otherwise, they fail the application, sort of.
And that there should be other, I always think there should be some, I really liked when Council Butler asked about additional funding. Because I do always feel like there should be some leveraging of other monies. So what your concern is that we are not supporting, and remember, these all have to sort of be economic development focused.
Mhm.
And you're bringing up in a very polite way, the smaller businesses who can't afford, but if they had $5,000, they could get together. Can I leap into what's the name of that group in Somerville?
I'm a part of Bow Market.
Bull Market.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to say before, that
Yeah.
is there an opportunity for a bull market type infrastructure here,
Right.
right? Because we're not helping the smaller businesses if we make them jump through hoops like I'm
Right.
suggesting we jump through.
But like that would have to be business driven, like a few businesses in the downtown area would have to be like, hey, we want to get together and do this. And then come up with like whatever they want to do and then come to us and be like, it's our idea, but it needs to be, would need to be business driven. And I
Right.
don't know how many of the businesses here are collaborating with each other.
And that sounds more event focused.
Correct. Yeah, I own a business in Somerville and I'm part of, yes.
Yeah.
And so we throw events together as like a whole. And so everyone comes with their own budget that we put towards it, but then Bull Market, the
Mhm.
entity, gives us an additional budget for every event that we do. But
But if we do it, so a couple of things that roadblocks to smaller businesses throwing events is that they wouldn't have money to pull this all together in the first place, but if we gave them $5,000, they could. That's an interesting scale, that's what you're talking about.
Right.
And if you have $100,000, that's 20 grants. That's a lot of grants.
But this is also for then also the art.
Yeah, no, it's, but you need 20 projects.
Yeah,
If it's $5,000.
it's a lot of events,
That's a
but it's also not, it isn't that many. It's 18 months. It's an event every month or an installation or some such thing. I'm worried that you're thinking, like, I hear a little too much of, like, I don't think this is a one business. Like, I don't think we're in the business of like benefiting one town business that wants to host an event and giving them
Let's do the cheese
$5,000
lady.
for it.
Let's do the cheese lady, because we like to use the cheese lady. So if the cheese lady, my apologies to the cheese woman, because I don't know what her name is. She has this amazing new storefronts. There's actually a ton of space over there. She could like shut down that street, and she did a wine and cheese event. We can't do, so we can't do for the wine. She did a wine and cheese
And
event
music, she is doing music.
and brought music in. Like that to me is something that like we're talking about, right?
yeah,
Yep.
it could be like, I mean, for example, in the past, we haven't hosted it in years, but we had like a chocolate shop. And so they would host like Bastille Day and like cheese, like brie and all the French cheeses. Like she could do like a Bastille Day, which is like a cultural event. And then other like businesses from other towns or whatever could also be involved and like come and like vend there and bring their own version of French things. I don't know, I'm just using Bastille Day.
Mhm.
It's cheese. But you know what I mean? Like,
So I wonder if we need to break this into two applications, almost like a mini and then
We structure the grant numbers as a $5,000 grant, and then there's one that is unlimited or scaled differently.
scale differently, yeah. That's a great idea.
and then, sorry, to sort of piggyback off of this, when I was looking at the other document in here, the project description, it lists specifically individuals, nonprofit, unincorporated nonprofit, and religious. It doesn't say anything about like a for-profit incorporated.
Oh. I'll do this. Good catch.
Well, I was just thinking that would these be nonprofit marches and fundraisers and.
Yeah, potentially, but
Having economic development. Right,
Mm-hmm.
so we should add the for-profit.
I think so. Like if a business wants to host an event, you know,
Can I borrow it then?
Well, who are we excluding then? Like, it sounds like we're not excluding anybody from hosting an event then. Nonprofits, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't want to add the for-profit component. I'm just like, I'm not sure who's excluded from that group.
We
Is it
take the
just
whole-
Melrose businesses.
individuals, right? Yeah, or is it an individual? But
You-
it could
you
be a
could
collection of individuals.
Spin
I
it to
just don't-
community entities.
Right. So so the good news is that we're getting to a point of this level of detail, which is great. So I'll put for profit and ask Erin if we need that paragraph. If we need to your point, if we need to point it out, if it could just be Wakefield.
And I didn't catch the religious thing either. Didn't catch that. Is everybody good with that?
I don't know that you can discriminate against.
Okay.
I think that's why. But I'll ask Erin.
So it says we cannot fund activities that are inherently religious. But they can apply for things that are available to the general public.
Like if a church fair, maybe down. Like,
Yep. Children's good show or something, yeah.
Baseline economic driver is the
Mhm.
criteria.
okay, so how do we tier these? Because you have your.
I know. Sorry, I have another meeting at 7. Do you go 5 and 15? I mean, do you go 5 and then,
5:15 and then at the discretion,
yeah,
at the discretion of the director and EDC or EDC?
Yeah.
And/or,
I mean, in to that end, if you're gonna split the application,
let's say Springsteen wants to come here
yeah,
and do a concert. It's like, I need 25 grand to do it. We'd be like, score, like, in.
Like Bruce Springsteen,
well,
his own money? He can pay for that.
that is the thing now, apparently pop-up shows here and there from random acts.
Yeah, yeah.
While we're bracketing that or splitting that, does the application for 5 become a little cleaner, easier to work with than the larger application for the discretionary 15 or?
Yeah, did you read it that it was kind of complicated? I think that was your comment.
I don't think it was too complicated. I thought it was good for your, method.
Do you think it was too robust?
There's a lot there.
I kind of feel like people need to do a little work for.
Yeah, I have no problem with them doing work, but there's a lot there.
Yeah. How about you folks on in?
Say that again, sorry.
Do you think it's the application is too robust, or do you think it's at the right level?
I don't know, I guess it's per project, I guess we'd have to review it. I just had a quick question. So we give someone $5,000, we'll just say. Do they have to show us the receipts where they spent the 5,000? Is that in the application?
Yeah, that's Erin's process. So Erin's, I think, following the process similar to what she did for the facade. Where they need to come with what they spent.
Okay.
Ally, you have any comments? You think the application is too robust, think it's about right?
No, I think it's just about right.
Any other comments or,
I don't think it's too robust. I think it's fine.
before you leave, because time is short and we're hitting the summer, do we feel comfortable voting on this with the changes that we talked about, or do we feel like we need another rep? How do you feel?
I feel okay. I don't know how much we require Erin's oversight. Still new to this. Like if she needed to be here for us to okay it without her.
No, that's okay.
No,
Oh, okay. I don't know.
no,
Yeah, so we're gonna.
I'm comfortable with a vote.
Okay, so then we just took the changes I wrote down, so looking at tiering the dollar amounts to 5, and if Erin wants to put in a 10, she can put in a 10. She gets a lot of, this is her, she's the one implementing all this, so she reaches out and says, I think it should be X,
Okay.
it's fine. tier 5, 10, 15.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. Are we putting a dollar amount on the creative arts piece? Or do we think it falls under that?
Personally, I think that's a project that we could fund to whatever level it needs to be funded.
Yeah.
I mean, if we slot that as 5, 10, and 15, I think it would fit into those.
Do you folks agree? Our projects we can slide into the
I
5.
think you want to have buy-in from, like, I think you don't want to fund this all with us. Like, I think you want to get businesses or somebody else buying in on this to have some skin in the game in terms of making this an event type thing. A little leery of, like, blank checking them, the
The Galvin's not a business technically.
Which one are you talking about? Just the application in general or the specific?
Yeah, I'm saying exceeding the cap of $5,000. Like if she said it was like 52 or something like that, and then it might be a little more because we're doing a little more. It didn't sound to me like it was 15. And I think like if you want to have 20 businesses vying for it, a business pays $200 to have it in their thing or whatever we do. Like I mean, I'm not sure how we economic develop. It just feels like if you want to build engagement around this, it probably needs to be something other than like if we're just writing a check, that's fine, but I'm just not sure. Not sure if you do it, you'll get that much engagement if you don't have other people helping around this. And maybe they don't need to help with money, maybe they help with promoting. But people are more likely to promote if they've paid a little something.
So in order to do all of this, there has to be an economic development aspect to it. So that's they're getting the businesses to write the letters. I'm gonna go to the food. They fundraising with the businesses. Part of what we want to make sure we do is not put a burden on the businesses to hold events, because the whole point of this is to help out the businesses. That makes sense.
I agree. I'm not advocating it as a burden on businesses. I'm just saying like, oh, if, I'd be a little worried that you're going to end up with 20 plaques and 27 people showing up to look at them on a Saturday.
I'm gonna move to Ally because Chris has to go. Ally, do you have any comments? Do you feel like we can vote on this, or do you feel like we need to go on?
I think we could vote on that.
Someone want to make, and then I'll get back to what you're saying, Council Butler. I just want to make sure we get Chris's vote before he has to leave.
And how I mean, if we're uncertain that every T is in cross, I can't remember if there's just language at the end of the application that says, subject to approval and modification by the EDC, as circumstances may require. Just throw a little flexibility in there in case something that we can't even foresee right now comes up when we go, oh, so that we can at least just refine it.
So at the discretion of the director EDC, is that not good enough?
It's okay with me. Yeah.
You're gonna determine that.
But no, what I was gonna say is like I looked at the application, but off the top of my head, I can't remember now if I saw that language.
Because you're an attorney, correct?
Yeah.
Would it be okay if you have the language that you send it to Erin? And she can just pop it in?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I will do that. Yes. Okay.
So what I have is it's here up, and it's up to, right? We always say up to.
Yep.
At the discretion of the director of EDC, and then Council Constance is gonna send some legal language to put in the end.
Yep. Just to give you some, this is new and
Yeah,
you don't know it, you can get 700 applications. You don't know.
That if it's tiered, you can only get 5, 10, or 15, because what if it's like,
No, up to,
8,000?
up to,
Up to.
Okay,
up to.
so we're not like promising them 10, but they only need 8.
Up to. And it's all based on what they're gonna. Does someone
That
make
is
a
a
motion?
motion.
Want to do it? Want to do a motion?
Sure, and I make a motion to vote approving the tiered structure for the Well, what it, tier structure
The, so arts and, no, creative arts and cultural events application.
for that.
Yeah. Okay, and then, you also, in your motion, do you also want to have that, we're gonna direct, we're asking the EDC director to move forward with us? Is that, you want that as part of your,
Yes, move forward.
With the application or with the art? Gosh, Galvin.
Once the changes are made to the application.
once it's in, yeah. The application, okay. Well, program, tier. Director. Sorry, someone want to make a second?
I'll second it.
Changes. All in favor, Ann in favor or not? You're voting? Aye, Ally?
Yes.
Yes. Chris is
Yes.
yes. Yes. I yes. Ollie's a yes. Julian's a yes. So. Okay. You're gonna check your schedule.
Yes, I will square that up.
The, what we
No
said,
library conflicts with my next meeting.
which said is, fourth Wednesday of the month.
Yep.
That,
All right, I'll thank you.
all right, thank you. Bye, Chris.
Good night, Chris.
Unanimous.
Apparently, I'm shirking on my library duties.
So my apologies, Counselor, if I was being short. I knew Chris had to leave, so I was trying to rush through.
Yeah, no, I like it. No. I think I'm also the liaison to the library, so, or, I don't know if I still am. We'll have to say.
The one thing that, because you folks are new to the, one thing that might be very helpful to see how the process has been working is to take a look at the facade application, and we can send that to you. Because Erin's done an amazing job where folks are sending in, applying for facade money, and she's has this great process where she's really following up. She's sending them award letters. She's gathering receipts. So there's, I think that would help sort of, because we're trying to replicate this to be very similar in process to that.
Yeah, that's great, of course, yeah.
Next agenda item, please.
Reorganization discussion?
So we're supposed to vote on who we want for chair and vice chair, 1, 2, 3, or probably still 5. Is anyone interested in, I know Chris is still interested in the vice chair. I will still be chair if folks want. Is anyone interested in vice chair or chair role? Ann?
I'm all set, thank you.
Ally, would you like to, are you interested in?
No.
No. Okay. Tanya?
Not this time.
No, okay.
Who's missing the meeting?
That's right, that's right.
That's how these things often get done.
Um,
Annie's just as new as I am.
Does someone want to make a motion to? How did we do it last time?
To
Was it?
nominate
And somebody has to
to nominate
nominate you
you.
as chair, right?
as chair and
Yeah.
Chris as vice chair.
Okay,
And you could take them in one vote.
okay. Does someone want to nominate Chris Barrett and Julian Orsino as chair and vice chair?
I'll nominate Julianne and Chris as chair and co-chair.
Co-chair is either.
You just gave
Hey, Chris,
a promotion. Oh, let's keep the men down. He can be vice chair.
Chris, yeah,
co-chair?
Chris is vice, Julianne is chair.
Seconded.
Second by Tanya, okay, so Ann. And Tanya. Sorry, who seconded your? Did you second it?
I didn't, but I can.
Did someone else second Ali's
I
motion?
thought
Was it
you
Chris?
did.
Did I?
You did, yeah. We can, I'll go back and look at the tape. Okay, I'm honored. Thank you all. Thank you.
You're getting a message about, I don't know if there's a button that needs to be pushed,
Oh.
just to. It might be as easy as just touching the screen. I don't know.
I know. If we lose you guys, I think we just got 2 more left, right?
Vacant storefront bylaw,
So Aaron,
vacant storefront program.
I'll put that on the next one. Aaron was gonna, get to discuss, I think, some ideas about things that we can do to help with the vacant
Great.
storefronts downtown. So I'll move that to the next meeting.
Announcements and next meeting date, items not anticipated.
I'm gonna move the item. The only one I had not anticipated was looking at the 20 grand that was voted on, which I think would maybe we would tighten up how we vote on the monies, because we should, if we're being asked to vote on a specific item, there should be a specific dollar amount and not just the dollar, but we can talk more when Aaron's here again. Yeah. And then just meeting.
Yeah, announcements the next meeting date and then motion to adjourn.
Okay, so next meeting will be, we've been doing, the Wednesday at 6. Does that still work for folks?
I'm most likely gonna miss the next one. I'll be overseas.
Like fun?
Back home in Egypt.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So 18th,
25th.
25th. Oh, the 4th. Got it. Yes, it's good for me.
Yeah, good for you, Tanya?
Yep.
Yes.
Natalie, good for you? The 25th?
Yes. Yes.
And?
Yes.
I think yes, just squeaked in. There we go. I always pay attention when the computer is giving you those scary messages. Meeting is about to end. Oh, no.
Butler, does that work for you? The 25th? You're on mute?
Yes. Yes, that
Okay,
works.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Let's do a motion for you.
Yes, do it. Just, yeah.
Okay. Don't I make a motion? Adjourn of the Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you wanna make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Someone want a second? Ally? Second.
Somebody.
All right, all in favor?
Yes.
Any yes, Ally, yes, Joanne, yes. Thank you all.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.